Huge losses across the board. What does this mean for us Pokemon card investors? I'm here to add some sensibility to this topic. Right at the end of this video, after we go over some examples, I'm going to share with you my thoughts around this current market and some of these losses, and talk about some valuable lessons that we can learn, and also some massive amounts of pros, so some positives that we can take away from this as investors. I'm Michael, this is Pokey. We talk all things Pokemon card investing on this channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in for the first time, and if you've been tuning in for a while, I really appreciate the support. This channel doesn't happen without people watching, so thank you so much. Let's talk about some sets, some singles, some sealed product that's taken some losses. First one being what looks like the never-ending rise of Fusion Strike. So if we bring the box up on the screen here, you'll see that 3 months ago, this box was $846 US. It climbed all the way above $1,000. It was the second booster box from the whole Sword and Shield era, other than Evolving Skies, to rise above $1,000 US. So it went to 1,067, and now it's back down to 893. So what you see in the last 3 months is that this box has pretty much lost all of its gains that it got over the last 3 months. It's nearly back to where it started. Now, with Fusion Strike, one of my most recent videos, I talked about the fact that you never really know exactly which set will perform really well. And Fusion Strike was one of those outliers, wasn't it? Like, if you rewind the clock back 2 years and you ask people what are the best sets from Sword and Shield, people would go, well, Evolving Skies, clearly. And then they would say probably Lost Origin. And then they'd say something along the lines of maybe Brilliant Stars. And then you think, well, hold on, look how well Fusion Strike has performed. Just a little side note there. To go through these quickly, I don't want to waste too much time on this because I really want to get into the valuable lessons that we could have learned from all this. Second one being Celebrations UPC. This was $725 3 months ago, climbed all the way nearly to $1,000 US, and it's back down to $790 US. So what you'll see, again, same as Fusion Strike, it's nearly lost all of its gains that it's made in the last 3 months. Next one, Silver Tempest Booster Box. $381 US 3 months ago, climbed all the way north of $500 US. This aligns very clearly with the Lugia price, so it went to $539 US and back down to $431 US. Another example is a Paldean Fates. Not Paldean Fate, sorry, Paldea Evolved booster box, $353 3 months ago, climbed all the way nearly to $500 US, would be the first booster box here from Scarlet and Violet era to do that, $476, but back down to $396. Again, this aligns so clearly to the Magikarp pricing as the top chase card inside that set. Next one on the list, Hidden Fates Elite Trainer Box, so we're going all the way back to Sun and Moon era, $393 3 months ago, climbed above $400 US for the first time in history, and back down below $400 to $389. So it's actually lost a bit of value over the last 3 months. It's less than what it was 3 months ago. Now, it's not just sealed products. Singles have taken a dive as well. The Gengar Lost Origin Trainer Gallery card, this absolutely ballooned in the last 3 months. It went from $23 up to $54, back down to $31. So similar trend to a lot of the sealed product that we're seeing, that it's nearly given up or eroded, you know, a lot of the gains that it's made over the last 3 months. Giratina from Crown Zenith, the #1 chase card, just ahead of Mewtwo V-Star in there. $169 3 months ago, climbed all the way to $225 and back to $199. Another one, the Magikarp, I said this clearly aligned to the booster box there. Magikarp went from $241 up to $403, back down to $304 US. So it's lost pretty much bang on $100 US of value in the last sort of 3 weeks. That's a pretty rude loss, isn't it? What else have we got? The Pikachu from Surging Sparks, $256 US 3 months ago, back up. Like, this went up. So it had taken a dive, like what quite typically happens to singles as a set first comes out, back up to $350 and back down to $324 US. So still more than what it was 3 months ago, but taken a bit of a loss over some of those gains that it got. So it's not only sealed products, it's not only singles, but total set values have also been declining, as it should if singles have gone down a touch. Fusion Strike, for argument's sake, one of the best sets from Sword and Shield era, that, as you'll see on the screen here, total set value has actually gone down for that set. Now, not every set's total set value has gone down. Not every singles value has gone down. Not every sealed product's value has gone down. But the general rule across the board at the moment is a lot of modern Pokemon cards and a lot of modern sealed product, which a lot of people are holding, and I've done multiple videos on this, are a little bit more volatile in a sense. And a lot of those have taken a hit. So with all that being said, what can we actually take away from this? What lessons can we learn? And like I said, there are plenty of positives to this. Some reality checks and plenty of positives. Before we jump into it though, I just wanted to give a shout out to two things. The first one being today's video sponsor, which is of course the Collector app. There'll be a link in the description to download it. You can check my journey down in the content creators section if you want to follow along. Lots of good things about this app. Fantastic app. You can add a whole sealed singles collection inside there. If you check on your portfolio now, you'll not only see your top performing products, but you can see what's made the most gains or also filter it to most losses in the last day. So it's interesting to see what products you've got that have been performing well. Also now down in the bottom right hand corner, when you click on your account, you can see the total amount of money spent and the total value of your whole collection on paper. Now, once you sell something, you can actually lock in gains. So you can see how much money you're making. So I suppose it's a little bit of a business tracker now. There's awesome benefits for pro users. The amount of data you can see as a pro user is awesome. So in terms of being a Pokemon investor, that would be incredibly beneficial. Again, link in the description to download that one. Second thing I wanted to talk about to you really briefly is perhaps a more important topic than anything else than investing, than Pokemon cards, and that is men's mental health. I will be growing a mow for Movember. I shaved on the 31st of October. We're going to see how well the mow comes along for the whole month of November. It's starting to grow along. I think, what's it been, 11 days now as of filming this video, so it's starting to come along. There'll be a link in the description if you did want to download, if you did want to contribute and donate to my Movember journey. The whole idea behind it is men's mental health, suicide prevention, and also some of those health concerns that really solely affect men, like testicular and prostate cancer. So hopefully we can raise some funds. I only just made the profile as part of our team at work. So if you could donate, that would mean a lot. Anyway, link in the description for that. Let's get on to some valuable lessons though. So when markets have crashes, and that's the term, that is the hot word being thrown around, that the Pokemon market is crashing, all you investor bros, you're going to amount to nothing, your whole collections are going to zero. Like, there's a lot of hot words being thrown around, but I want to, I suppose, add some sensibility to all this conversation that's happening around a market crash. Okay, so what defines a crash? I mean, you can Google what defines a market crash. Are we in a market crash? Well, if you look at vintage, you would argue, no, we're not. Some of the vintage cards, whether it's Gold Stars, whether it's, PSA 10, first edition Dragonites from Holo, just making, from Fossil, making just unbelievable sales prices, you'd argue, well, no, we're not. But then if you look at modern, a lot of people are jumping out and offloading because they're not getting those massive gains or those quick tendies, as people like to call it. I don't like to use these hot words that everyone else likes to use, but you get the idea. There's people jumping out of the hobby, and with that in mind, there has been a retraction or a stabilization of a lot of modern sealed and singles prices. Now, with all that being said, here's some of the lessons. The first lesson, I think, is this whole idea behind greed and fear. There were too many greedy people thinking they can make quick money off anything, including the Pokemon TCG. Like, that's just life. There are people thinking that can happen. And when that happens, and the opposite occurs where they realize they can't, that's when fear sets in and they go, well, hold on, I can't make that quick money that I was expecting to make, therefore I'll sell. And if there's more supply in the market than what there is demand, what do we see? We start seeing a retraction in the price of a lot of products. And that's where really, this is a really valuable lesson. You've got to have that long-term perspective when it comes to investing in Pokemon cards. You really do. Like 5 years plus, 7 years plus, 10 years plus, particularly when it comes to sealed Pokemon card products. It also, to me, another valuable lesson, it highlights the importance to avoid overpaying for products. That can happen a lot in a bull market. In a bull market, what happens is we see the prices of things go up and we think they're just going to continue to go up forever because maybe the last 3 days they've gone up, maybe the last week they've gone up, maybe the last month they've gone up, maybe the last 3 months it's been continually rising. And we think, well, we've got to damn well pay for this, otherwise we're going to miss the boat. And look, that's true in some cases, don't get me wrong. But you also need to have a plan. That's a valuable lesson we can take away from this. Have a plan of an entry point price for every product or every card or every graded slab that you're going to buy. Have yourself a plan about the price. Like if your plan is literally, I only want to buy things at retail price, I don't want to pay double on the secondhand market, then you probably need to form some sort of relationship with, I don't know, your local gaming store, whoever it might be that can supply you product at a reasonable price. Like, and if your plan is you won't pay any more than that, well, that's a lesson you've learnt from this. Now, the other thing that a bull market brings about, it really does bring about excessive risk taking. And what I mean by that is people go all in. And they go all in because of what I just explained, that it's gone up the last day, it's gone up the last 3 days, it's gone up the last week, it's gone up the last month, it's gone up the last 3 months. It ain't gonna stop. And that's what people's mentality comes about when it's in a bull market. People go, this train isn't stopping. I'm gonna put heaps and heaps of money into this. Like, Evolving Skies has reached, I'm just plucking numbers out there, Evolving Skies has reached $3,000 a box. I'm gonna buy 50 of them, because they're going to go to 6,000 before I know it. So I'm going to double my money in no time. Then it retracts back to $2,500 and you go, whew, hold on, there's a valuable lesson learnt, that you still got to have some sort of risk tolerance in a bull market, because before you know it, at the blink of an eye, markets change. That's what happens. It's supply demand. Things come up, markets change, decisions get changed. That's just what happens in a free market. So we need to have some level of risk tolerance there. Don't forget, they are just paper shiny cardboard at the end of the day. Now, the pros, to shine a bit of a shining light on all this, there's plenty of positives we can take away from a market that's subsided just a touch. And the biggest one is, for my eyes, opportunity. Like, there are opportunities now that are presenting themselves. For example, you might not wanted to have paid $3,000 for an Evolving Skies booster box because you thought it was too expensive. Maybe you've managed to buy yourself a deal at $2,000 and you go, well, that's actually a comfortable entry point price. I can now get into one of the greatest modern Pokemon card sets ever made with a total set value of $7,000. We all know it's Evolving Skies and it's boom or bust, but having a sealed product there as one of the greatest Pokemon card sets ever made is going to be a very, very important piece of Pokemon TCG history. Having that sealed and now having an opportunity to buy it cheaper than what it was 2 months ago is fantastic in my eyes. Like, that's a real positive for a collector and or an investor. One last piece of advice or positive that I think we can take away from this, and that is, you know what? Those that sell now and exit after they bought maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago and realized they couldn't make the money as quickly as they thought they could, they're going to take losses. That's what happens when people sell out in a bear market or a crash or whatever those hot words you want to use to throw around. People can lose money. People that sell out. The other thing is, though, that those that hold, those that have that mentality that, you know, short-term blips or changes in the market doesn't affect them because they're in it for the long term, you know what? They're going to hold, they're going to get the recovery, and then they're probably going to exceed the prices they were 2 months ago. Like, it's as simple as that. You could make more gains coming into the future when the market starts to heat back up again. I'm Michael, this is PokeOz. Thanks heaps for tuning in, and I'll catch everyone next time.